Hi everyone, this is Charlindy and welcome back to my channel. Today in my Alphabet Legacy Challenge we're going to be getting into the gameplay of my founder just getting started in life. But before I get into the gameplay, I just wanted to go over real quick the details of the Legacy Challenge that I'm doing. So let's get started. The name of the challenge is the Adoption Alphabet Legacy Challenge, and I created this challenge as a combination of a few different challenges that I've seen, just kind of picking and choosing the rules that would make the gameplay the most fun for me. And I wanted it to be challenging, but not so challenging and tedious that I would get burnt out after just a few weeks of playing. So most of these rules are here specifically to keep me interested in the Legacy family and their lives. So the basic rules for starting up are pretty much the same as every other Legacy challenge. You start with only one sim in the household, that's the founder. Your founder sim must be a young adult. You may start your family in any neighborhood that has a 50 by 50 or larger lot. In my case, I think I only have one neighborhood with a 50 by 50 or larger lot, so I just stick with the base game biggest lot available. And you move your founder into it and use the money cheat to force your founder to have 0 simoleons, which I know not all Legacy challenges start there. I think a lot of them start with 8,000 or 10,000 simoleons, but I do like the challenge at the beginning of just having absolutely nothing to begin with. Then for the gameplay, this is also mostly the same as other Legacy challenges. The lifespan is set to normal. Here's a rule that I have just for myself. Sims cannot be forced to age up, even with the birthday cakes. It has to happen naturally when the game decides that it's time for them to age up. And I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but I just really don't like doing birthdays on The Sims, and I feel like it's more natural to just let the Sims age up on their own, and I can live with the sad moodlet for a day after they age up. Likewise, the lives cannot be prolonged with ambrosia or any other potion. It's just the natural lifespan. Then the next rule for gameplay is that each child should have a screenshot taken of them once they age up to young adult. And also spouses added to the household should have a screenshot taken of them after they move in. Now, most Legacy challenges have a rule similar to this, where each family member should have a photo taken of them in-game or a portrait painted, but I have a really hard time remembering to do this, and it's annoying for me to have a sim handy each generation that can paint portraits or that can take photos of the family. And I also don't like having to store the paintings or photographs in the house. So I understand the point of all of that like you want to have a record of each family member for nostalgia and like for the later generations to look back on and see where they came from. But I just like having screenshots to look back on so that I can know what everyone looked like. So I just leave it to that. Then the next rule is that the heir or heiress and their spouse must stay in the household until their death. They can't move out and then move back in later on. Also, if a sim moves out of the household, they cannot be moved back in. So you can't have a child move out and then later decide that you want them to be the heir instead. If they're out, they're out. And same with divorces, they are allowed, but again, the spouse that leaves can't come back. And then the last gameplay rule is that the Legacy challenge is complete when the first child of Generation Z is born. And I'll get back to the whole Generation Z in a bit. So the inheritance rules are that each generation needs to have at least one adopted child. Either adopted or biological children can inherit the legacy. And alien impregnations do count as adoption for the purposes of this challenge, so even alien implanted babies can inherit the legacy. Then for the naming rules, Because it's an alphabet challenge, the founder must have a name starting with A, and then each generation afterwards needs to have all of the children named starting with B, and then the next generation C, and then just etc. until you make it through all the letters of the alphabet. So Generation Z will be your last generation, and you'll probably only have one child named with Z, because that's when the legacy challenge is complete. Obviously, if you want to keep playing after that, you can, but that's when you've won. Then also for naming, all last names should be the same as your first Sim's last name. The same as your founder's last name. So remember to change your spouse's names after they get married. In my case, I went with the last name Varnamala, which I believe is a Gujarati word for alphabet. I wanted the last name to be alphabet related because it's such a specific, it's the alphabet adoption legacy challenge. And all of the last names that I was looking into, they just sounded like the word alphabet, which I didn't like. So I just went through Google Translate and translated the English word alphabet into like as many other languages as possible. And the only one that I liked that didn't sound like the word alphabet was Varnamala, and I thought it sounded nice, so that's what I went with. Then for the traits rules. Traits for Sims must be randomly rolled each time they age up. So this can either be done by hitting the randomize button, or sometimes if you hit the randomize button, it will also affect the other traits, which we don't want. So in that case, you can use a random number generator. But that doesn't mean that you are stuck with whatever traits they roll with. After aging up to young adults, the Sims may buy and drink the retraiting potion. However, only one trait may be re-rolled, and the new trait has to also be randomly rolled. If by chance you happen to get the same trait as before, even randomly re-rolling it, you can roll it again, but only one more time. I don't even know if that's possible, actually, to get the same trait again using the retraiting potion, but if that happens, you're good. You can roll it again. And then if you choose to age up townies along with your Sims, which I like doing a lot of the time, because if I have a Sim grow up with a childhood friend and then the Sim ages up into young adult or even a teenager, I don't like having that same friend come around the house and calling them. Like, you don't want to have a child calling your adult Sim being like, oh, we should hang out. Can I come hang out? So I do like to age up the townies along with my Sims if they're close enough friends that they communicate frequently. So that's totally alright to do, but the townies' new traits have to also be randomly rolled. So you can't just choose to have your childhood friend age up with awesome traits. Just like in real life, sometimes your friends turn into crappy people as they grow up, and you just have to make better friends after that. So for the romance rules, all romantic partners must either be townies that came with the game or completely randomly created townies. So I like to populate my town with random townies when I start my game, but you can also do this at any point later on if you start running out. The main thing is that the names, traits, and appearance must all be randomized. So I went in and created like 2 full houses of random young adult men, young adult women, adult men and adult women, a couple houses just full of aliens, and I also created quite a few families that had like adult parents, a boy and a girl teen, a boy and a girl child, and a boy and a girl toddler, just to have all of the age groups accounted for randomly. Then, as far as appearance goes, I do have a rule for myself that no sliders can be adjusted in Create a Sim for any Sim. Whether they're in your household or whether they're a townie or whatever, you can only change their appearance via skin details, makeup. It's okay to do different eyebrows because you can always pluck your eyebrows or like draw them on differently. You can do different hair and hair colors because you can always dye your hair. And then obviously, like, changing clothes is fine. So where it gets more strict is their eye color, skin color, and again, any sliders. There are caveats to that though. So you can change their eye color using a face paint eye mask, custom content, if it makes sense for their personality to use color contacts, but you have to use their natural eye color for their sleep outfit in that case. And you can change their skin tone to be a little bit darker if it makes sense for their personality to be outdoors a lot or like to go to tanning salons, but aside from that, you can't change their skin tone. Also, if your sim has a personality where this would make sense, again, they can pay 10,000 simoleons by using the money cheat to get plastic surgery in order to use the sliders, but the plastic surgery has to be within normal, real-life plastic surgery scope. So you can do like adjustments to the nose or the cheeks or the chin. Maybe a little bit of liposuction would be okay, or like getting a boob job or a butt lift, but like nothing too extreme, nothing that you wouldn't be able to get in real life. So with that, that is the last rule for the Adoption Alphabet Legacy Challenge that I'm playing by, so we can get into the gameplay now. In the background, I've had Avri do some scrounging around the neighborhood to harvest plants and dig up collectibles to sell, and I was actually able to get her set up with a pretty good house for her first night. She was able to sleep not only on an actual bed, I mean technically it was a cot, but it wasn't a bench. But she also has a separate bathroom instead of having a toilet doubling as a nightstand. Now we're picking up at a really good spot because we may have found Avri a boyfriend. She just went to the library to use their computer, but this guy started talking with her, and I mean, you can see how it's going yourself. The guy keeps coming back to talk even though he's in the middle of working. And he seems pretty cute, even though he is a randomly generated townie. Now, it looks like all we know about him so far is that he is neat, which is not bad, but we'll have to keep getting to know him before we decide if she wants to date him. So we're just going to talk to him some more, hopefully learn more about him. Okay, he works at the library, obviously. He keeps making faces and sounds like he's grossed out, but it just says he's uncomfortable. I wonder why. Maybe Avri could make him feel better. Maybe we can discuss his uncomfortable mood. Help him work through it. Oh, do you have an upset stomach? Do you need some Pepto? Oh, okay, well, he hates Pepto-Bismol or something. Alright, well, I'll just let them talk about whatever for now, and we'll see where this goes. Okay, he is single, so we just need to find out what his other two traits are. I may as well check out the other guys here, because I really shouldn't get my hopes set on the first guy Avri meets. Even though they do seem like they have really good chemistry. And none of these guys are interesting. Okay, so we still only know one of his traits, so we are going to try some more. Oh, he's stoic. That's a custom content trait that I downloaded, and it means that he will feel fine most of the time, overriding other emotions, instead of just feeling happy all the time like most Sims do. Okay, so stoic and neat, those are both pretty neutral traits. Neither are red flags or anything, but I mean, you never know, the last one could be evil or mean or something, so we have to learn that third trait before we get into a relationship. Okay, after a deep conversation about tragedy and comedy, apparently, we have learned that he is a bookworm, which is so interesting. It's still such a neutral set of traits. Like, there's nothing particularly amazing and particularly negative about him. The bookworm makes sense since he works at a library. None of them really work hand in hand with Avri's traits, but like at least there's no negatives to it. So I guess I'll just go off of how happy they seem to be to just talk to each other and like the chemistry that they seem to have. And we will see if they can date. Obviously we have to romance him first and see if he's okay with dating. Oh god, she brought her glass of milk into the bathroom with her before she even washed her hands. Alright, so day 2 is done. Exciting developments that she can think about as she eats her struggled breakfast in the dark again. Sending a quick text to Perry to let him know she's still thinking about him. And she does have work today, so she needs to work on the computer in the library some more. And hopefully Perry is there too. Okay, she does actually need to get some work done, but Perry is here, so she should probably chat with him while she has the chance. And here's where I realize he's talking to another woman, and I dejectedly go back to just playing video games. Oh, but Perry is back, so I guess that lady wasn't as exciting as Avri is after all. Good, I don't want her to have to fight for his attention. This has to, like, flow naturally. So I'm realizing that Avri needs to bathe again, and I have not included a shower in her bathroom yet. But, luckily, after her first day of work, she should be able to afford one. So we're gonna set her up with that, adjust the bathroom so that there's actually room for a shower, and now she can shower without stealing from the gym. I wanted to change her work outfit because I remember doing that before, but I cannot find how to anymore. Oh hey, what's up? I just got out of the shower. Oh, they hugged. That's so cute. Oh my gosh, they love talking to each other so much. Avri does need to work on video gaming and programming, but she's having such a good time. I don't think I'm gonna force her to work. Okay, unfortunately, it is late and Avri needs to sleep. It's okay, she'll have plenty of time to hang out with Perry tomorrow if she wants. So, day 4. We are going to have Avri actually cook something this morning to cheer her up so that she is not sad and lonely in her dark apartment again. Oh gosh, of course. Her oven catches fire. Okay, so much for that idea. Back to having quick meals for breakfast, I guess. Okay, we are going to the library again because she still can't afford a computer, but at least she gets to hang out with Perry. Oh, and again, she is late to work because she was flirting but she does need to finish her task for work, so it's okay if she's a little late. Aw, Perry seems kind of sad that she's gone. I didn't want to have to replace the oven because she could barely afford it, and she still needs a computer, but she does kind of need to be able to cook, so unfortunately we're gonna have her spend the 400 simoleons. Okay, now that I am sure I want them to date and everything's going well, it's time to give Perry a makeover. So when I do makeovers, I like to add realistic skin details. I really don't prefer Maxis Match stuff. I feel like most of the time it looks too much like they're made of putty, and I want the Sims to be as realistic as possible. So I always go for realistic skin as the base, and I like to choose the skin detail based on their actual bone structure. So like in this case, you can see I rotate the Sim around a little bit so that I can see the edges of the mesh that the Sim is made of. And in this case, I can see that his nose is pretty defined and sharp on the bridge. So I'll choose a skin detail that reflects that, like a defined nose bridge. So I wouldn't want a skin detail that has like a flat nose bridge because it just looks off when it goes on top of the mesh. Then when it comes to hair, I like to stick to their general natural hair texture. So in this case, he was generated with like 3C, 4A, very ethnic curls. So I'm going to keep his hair in the tight curls category. It can go a little bit more afro texture or it can go a little bit looser curls, but in the general area. For accessories and eyebrows and makeup, I like to base their looks pretty heavily off of their personalities, their traits and their likes and their dislikes. So in this case, I didn't have a whole lot to go off of except for him being neat and a bookworm. Although I did consider the fact that he was stoic when I was choosing his eyebrows because I didn't want to go for any eyebrows that looked too angry in a neutral state, and I didn't want to go for eyebrows that looked too happy, I guess. Just really neutral, stoic looking. So aside from the stoic, I had that he was neat and a bookworm. So I was going for bookish style, kind of preppy sweaters, slacks. I guess it might be considered like a neutral academia. Not really a dark academia. And usually when a sim is neat, I let that affect their style in that they want their clothes to fit well. Like, they don't want any slouchy clothes. They want to be very put together and well-groomed. And I also let that apply to their hairstyles. I wouldn't want their hairstyles to be like a bedhead kind of look. Just clean lines and nothing messy. Okay, well, I am happy with the way Perry looks, so let's go back to gameplay, and we are going to have Avri clean this floor so that Perry doesn't see it and think that she's a slob and lose interest. Oh, too bad she left her bowl on the ground outside in front of him while she went to clean. Oh, you can see him eyeballing it too. Oh, well, then they go to chatting in the bathroom immediately afterwards, so I guess he didn't mind all that much. Okay, now going into day 5, we got a successful breakfast in the oven. Avri did not catch fire this time, so it's a better day already. Yay! We can finally afford to get her a computer and desk and chair. It has to be all of the cheapest ones, but hey, it's happening finally. I want to buy the tea maker so that she can get focused whenever she needs to, but it looks like she can't afford it yet. Oh, what's this? Perry wants to hang out again? Why, of course you can. I'll make breadsticks for us. We'll just take a shower so that we don't stink in front of Perry. I'm sure the neat freak understands and appreciates it. Ooh, okay. Well, he does not like the breadstick. Alright, well, on this very pleasant note of Avri and Perry sitting on a cot in the dark and having deep conversations and becoming best friends forever, I will be ending this second episode of the Varnamala Legacy. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for the next episode. I hope you all have a wonderful day, or if you are watching this at night, then I hope you have a wonderful night and that your day tomorrow is also wonderful.